in this lesson, we'll begin to build the inner part of the mouth. So when we have the mouth sort of kind of open like this, we want to have some kind of geometry inside here. Okay, we want to have this sort of closed off. And so we have the symmetry generator here, which is creating the other side of the geometry. So let's actually break this down. Now you can see on the back here as I'm checking around that some of these points are off. So to fix that, all we have to do is come in and select that cube. Let's select all the points that should be in the middle. Okay, so those are all the points in the middle of that center line. And let's right click and go to set point value. And we're going to set the value in the X. So we'll say set, and let's set it to a value of 0. And that's just going to snap all those points to the midline. Now if we turn that back on, you can see that looks a lot better. Okay, so the reason that I'm going to bake this down is just easier to deal with this as one whole border edge. And so let's take this symmetry and let's just make it editable. And that gives us a cube right here that is both sides. So now we've taken out the symmetry and it's one object. So now what we can do is select our loop selection. And I want to select a boundary loop. And so we'll select the inside of the mouth here. Now let's right click and go to extrude. And let's extrude this out a little bit. And then I want to change the edge angle. And so I'm going to take this down to about minus 90 or so. And that'll extrude it sort of in there. And then we can change the offset a little bit more. And that kind of gives us a little bit of the sort of thickness of the lip there. Okay, let's do the same thing again. Kind of pull this in, and this time we can kind of change that value down a little bit more, and we can start to just kind of pull this back. And let's also kind of scale it in a little bit. So we start to get this geometry kind of coming back and inside. Let's also sort of scale it in. And as it comes in, it can start to get kind of smaller. We're not going to be adding a bunch of detail here inside of the mouth, but we just want it to be sort of closed off. Okay. Now once we get this sort of started, then I can come in again and get rid of half of this. So let me just select this half, delete it, and again I'll optimize the points by getting rid of those, or get rid of them by optimizing rather. And so you can see here is where we have the inside of our mouth starting to form. And then now that we've got the other half deleted, it gives us a little bit more freedom in where these points are, so we can come in and start to kind of move these individual points up and out of the way. Now I probably want to come in and use the knife with loop on, and then just kind of create a little bit more of a kind of a lip there. And we can do the same thing here. Kind of move this up just a little. Okay, kind of pull this over. And depending on how detailed you want to get, you could extend this so it kind of comes down and starts to go down towards the throat. That way you kind of get the back of the mouth. We're not going to add too much detail in here, so we can cut this off, pretty soon. And so to do this, we can come in and let's just say, okay, I want to bridge, and let's bridge between these two edges. And then we can just go to close polygon hole, close that up, and then we just use our knife to draw across here. So we've got a couple of edges there. So we can just take our knife. Let's go to line, and we'll draw one there to right down there. Okay, and then let's take this point right here, and we'll just kind of move it down a little bit. Move this in a bit, and then if you want to, you can grab these faces on the back, and we can just kind of move those back. Or we can do an extrude and extrude them back if we want to start to change this even a little bit more. Just keep in mind that you'll want to delete that inner face. Oops. Delete that inner face. And it looks like I've got an extra face right down here, which I want to get rid of. Okay, so you get something like that for that inner mouth. And then you can always go back and check and just make sure that all those inner points there are still where they need to be. So set point value 0. Pop those over. So then if you popped a symmetry back in, drop this underneath, you should get that inner mouth there. So you get something like that. Okay, so once you've got the inner mouth created, the mouth bag or mouth sac, sometimes it's referred to, we'll go ahead and kind of add some detail to the mouth. So think about, this is going to be a really important area of the mouth, this corner of the mouth. So we'll take a look at that in the next lesson.